invisible. I'm so excited to share with all you beautiful ladies out there, as well as offer you a special discount using my girl Brit's code. She is a proud owner of both the Deep Plunge and Modest Plunge bra and can vouch that they're life changing. I can't wait for you to check it out, mrskisses.com, and get that perfect cleavage you've always desired.
And I've been having a lot of people ask me about my skincare routine, so I wanted to show you guys really quickly my Radiant Skincare Spin Brush by Duval. It's really cool because it comes with 4 different heads better than just using a regular towel. And this is antibacterial, so you're able to use your brushes, like the heads that come with, for a long time without worrying about them getting like nasty and germy. So you guys will not get that, and your skin won't be either for purchasing this. Right now, I'm so excited to be able to offer to you guys my discount code. It is regularly $95. But you guys can get 70% off with my code BRITBRAT. It's going to take you down to like $28. You can't go wrong with that.
We are live. Yes, ma'am. We are live and in charge.
All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Love Lockdown, the podcast where my husband and I discuss relationship advice that perfectly works for us. And if you are listening or if you are watching now, welcome, welcome. We appreciate every single one of you. I am one of your hosts, Britt
And
Brad.
I'm Chris,
Yes,
aka Captain Arrogant.
yes,
And
yes.
if you're watching this broadcast right now, please make sure that you're sharing it to your friends because this will be epic
Yeah,
all the
today's going to be a
way.
really good show. Really good
Today's
show
going to be a
today.
really good show, guys. And we're going to give people a couple of seconds to join while we talk about the topic before we bring our wonderful guest on today. So if this is your first time listening this season, I know we have thousands and thousands of fans out there in different countries. So if this is your first time listening this
Crazy.
season and you're a long time listener, we now go live for season 2. So if you are interested in joining our lives every week, please join us on the Love Lockdown Facebook page at Love Lockdown or the Love Lockdown YouTube page at Love Lockdown on YouTube.
Perfect, perfect. So today we have a special guest, like we discussed, and you guys are going to absolutely love her, Miss Natanya Ross herself. So the topic of the day is going to be dating in Hollywood. Oh, I got
Dating in
so cool.
Hollywood. Are you guys ready? I know for me personally, I have a ton of questions, like a ton of them, because
I do.
we always see things like love and hip hop or growing up hip hop or what is it, Atlanta Housewives
There's
and
so
things like that. That's really kind of scripted, to be honest.
mm-hmm.
So I'm really interested to get down to the nitty gritty on what happens in Hollywood while dating.
Yeah.
And I'm super interested because I feel like Natanya's going to bring a perspective, and she's going to keep it all the way real today, guys. That's the fun part. So if you guys have any questions or any responses to what she's saying, please chime in and please share, because there's nothing more than that we like than for you guys to participate and enjoy the show. So let's get into the comments real quick. Let's
Let's
see
see
who's
these
checking in.
comments. What's up, guys? Hey,
What's
Brittany.
up, guys? So Brittany checked in. Brittany's always here. Brittany is a brat from the Brat Squad.
Whoop,
Hey,
whoop.
Esther's in the house. My
Hello.
auntie. James is here, of course, who's always a part of the show.
Brother.
Creative Dream Set.
Hi.
YouTube is representing today. James said he is super excited and ready to roll. M Staff is in the building. He was here last episode. We enjoyed you.
Nah, Miss Nickelodeon.
Got Angela in the building. Hey y'all, we are ready for this show. Make sure you guys are sharing this podcast. This will be one for the books. If you think that our previous podcasts were insane, wait until you participate in this one. Creative said y'all match. That's cute. Listen,
Yeah, we represent Nickelodeon
we
today.
had to represent Nickelodeon today, kick it back to the 90s because our guest is so special.
Yeah.
Really, really special. So Erica said, hey, what's up, Erica?
What's up,
Time
bestie?
listeners all the way from season 1, episode 1 has been representing with us from the beginning.
Yes.
Vivian said heart. We all ready.
Hello, Vivian.
Nicole said I love Natanya Ross. Listen, big fans.
Huge fans.
Tashara said normally she sits in the back of the room, but let's get it, fam. What's
get
up, Tashara?
It's gonna be a good episode today.
So Britt.
Yes.
Before we bring our guest in, and I know I'm not trying to waste any time today. I'm trying to bring her in ASAP. So before we bring our guest in, I need you to do the introduction of all introductions because that's what you specialize in.
I mean, I'm so flattered. Thank you so much. But yes, today we have a special guest like we discussed. We've got Miss Natanya Ross. And if you guys are not aware of her, then you're probably too young, bro, honestly, because she literally was our childhood in the 90s growing up. Like, she was on Billy. She was on the Babysitters Club movie. She was on The Secret World of Alex Mack. She's been on Boy Meets World, ER. Like, the list goes on. She's been on everything. So she started off at a very young age, which is going to be very interesting to also discuss because she's a childhood actress.
Listen, one of my favorite childhood actresses is joining the show today, and I got to give her props. She did her thing. Like you heard the long list of what Britt said. It's amazing, the list of things that she's accomplished this entire time. I believe she's having some technical difficulties. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that she's comfortable, and when she joins in, everything is working. She's going to rejoin here in a second. But what questions do you guys have today that you want answered from Miss Natanya Ross? Please chime in. We need the Love Lockdown family to give us some things that you've always wanted to know from behind the curtains of dating in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's going to be epic. And I really enjoy our guests that we get that literally come on when we do our practice and say, like, nothing's off limits. You
Nothing's
guys
off
can
limits
ask me anything. Yeah, there's nothing better than that.
So listen, I believe that we have her back. If you're ready, wave at us, Natanya.
We're ready whenever you are.
She's ready. Here we go.
All right. Hello, beauty.
Hi. I had to get off my computer and get on my phone, but it's okay because I realized I had my AirPods, which is probably even better, right?
That's wonderful.
Better. We can hear you
the echoing. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Hi, you guys.
Hello. Hey. I don't know if you heard our introduction, but we were literally saying how we could wear Nickelodeon, we could wear Disney. Like, you just were so well-rounded that we could represent anything. So, and that you were our childhood. So the 90s, like, there wasn't watching anything without seeing you on there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That means so much to hear. And I'm really happy to. Thank you. That means a lot, and really happy to be here with y'all today. So thank you for having me. And yeah.
Yes, thank you for coming on with us.
So we're going to get it started like instantly.
Can I just really quick? I'm so sorry to cut you off.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I just got the sweetest text from my grandpa, and he wants to make sure he's listening to the right thing. So, hi, Grandpa. You did it. You're in. You figured it out.
So cute. Hi, Grandpa. I'm so sad.
And don't worry, we can still talk about dating in Hollywood. Nothing's gonna bother him. I promise.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Awesome. So we're gonna jump right in, and we're gonna, off the rip. We're not wasting any time. So let us know right now, Natanya,
Okay.
did you begin dating earlier than a normal person because of your child actor career?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think I did. My first like real boyfriend was during the Babysitters Club, actually.
Wow.
So that's a good story. We can get into that story if you want. But yeah,
please tell us more.
That was like my first boyfriend. Yeah. So Austin O'Brien, he played Logan in the movie. And I was, at the tender age of 14 years old, and we just had that little young love thing going on for a little while. And I don't know, I mean, I guess in comparison to today's standards, 14 is probably old to start dating, but in the 90s, like I was early to rise in the 90s.
Right. I mean, nowadays everybody has camera phones in kindergarten, so dating probably starting at the age of tender age of 8 now.
Yeah, and they better just be giving each other bubbles. That's better. That's what they should be doing if that's the case.
Right. So that's awesome. So did you guys spark on screen, or was it like offset that you guys like kind of kindled that little romance back then?
Definitely offset for sure. My character in the Babysitters Club was like so far removed from having any scenes with those characters because we were the bad girls, so we were kind of like just off to the side doing our own, dirt off on the side. So yeah, it started off screen, and yeah, I mean, I remember it fondly. It was a really sweet little experience, and yeah, definitely off screen.
What is he? Do you keep in touch with him? I'm trying to think if I've seen him on anything else.
I can't hear you.
I said, do you keep in touch with him?
Oh no, I can't hear you guys.
Can you hear me? You can't hear anybody?
It's okay, she can come back.
Can you hear us now, Natanya?
That's so interesting, though.
Listen.
Can you guys hear me?
Listen.
Yeah,
we can hear you just fine.
Can you hear us?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear us? All right, give us 1 second.
Let's see.
Maybe we can have her come back in.
Yeah. Listen, she's already blowing my mind on the first question. Look,
I know, because I didn't think she was going to give us names. So
listen, she name dropped. Listen, Grandpa joined the show. It's already getting popping.
Yeah.
I don't specifically know who dude is,
but
the way you do know who he is. So was he like a main character in the Babysitters Club for everybody who does not know?
Yeah, he was a main character. He actually dated the girl from She's All That. The main, what's her name from She's All That? I can't think of it. That's who he dated on the movie.
Rachel Cook.
Yeah,
Rachel.
There you go. Yeah. I can't believe I couldn't think of Rachel Cook's name.
Yeah. Sorry about that, you guys.
Awesome.
I don't know what's going on, but I think I'm in now. Hopefully, I'm in for good now.
Yeah, no problem.
I know, right? It's all good. We're gonna keep it rolling no matter what.
I'll just keep signing back in if I have to.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. We can do the Teddy Riley all day long. It's all good.
Listen, you can't do any worse than Nelly. I don't know if you watched that versus battle, but Nelly spent the majority of the time buffering.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, it was really crazy.
We're already off to a better start, thank God.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as you're not buffering for 75% of this, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
So and you also care. He didn't care, so we're good.
Right into the next question, because it goes kind of with our first question. Was your first kiss during acting?
No.
Really?
No, I actually my first kiss was actually with Austin. It was the rap party of the Babysitters Club. Again, really just innocent and sweet. I was, definitely not. I only had like one on-screen kiss in my career. It was when I did Beverly Hills 90210. It was super weird, super awkward, and I'm glad I didn't have to do that very often because it's not as glamorous as one might think.
That's funny. I can't imagine it is.
How awkward.
Who did you have to kiss on 90210, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't, to be honest, I don't even remember the guy's name. He it was in a scene. We were like kind of like runaway youth, and Ian Ziering's character took us on this wilderness retreat thing, and we snuck off and like made out in the I don't know, it was like bizarre.
Listen, that's got to be awkward. A scheduled kiss in front of a ton of people. I can't imagine. Insane.
No.
I mean, unless you have a thing for those kind of things, I don't I don't see it not being awkward.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was asking, do you still keep in touch with Austin?
You know what? What's funny is I mean, in touch, social media, we get tagged in a lot of the same things together, and then I'll like repost, and then we'll start a little conversation on Instagram. But he's doing really well. He has beautiful children. He's married. He's a really incredibly talented photographer. So yeah, I mean, we all kind of keep up with each other over social media, in one way or another, for sure.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's the beautiful thing about social media.
Yeah.
But before we go into any more questions, guys, I know I'm at the controls here, but we have to jump into some of these comments because they have something to do with everything we've been talking about. Okay. So before we get stopping, Nicole said that you're such a beauty on the inside and out.
That's my girl. That's my friend.
If she really is, though. I agree.
That's awesome. Haley said, my fifth grader said they had a boyfriend or a girlfriend in like the third grade. Listen, I don't know if you're familiar with the show, but I got to go back to what my granddad used to tell me. Back then, I used to tell him I had a girlfriend. He'd be like, boy, you ain't got nothing but a biscuit and some syrup. Now, to this day, I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure he was correct because you don't know what you're doing in the third grade. You don't know what you're doing when you're grown. So good luck.
Yeah.
I barely know what I'm doing now.
I'm married and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Right. And James said, were you in the McDonald's commercial also?
I was in the string of these really popular McWorld commercials they did in the 90s. Mine was called Mute Button. I had this like magic remote control where I could like mute people. If I didn't want to hear them talking, I could like switch my outfits. And yes, I think it was the longest running McDonald's commercial in that series of commercials in the 90s. So yeah.
That is dope.
It went a long time.
That's dope.
So cool. Oh my goodness.
All right. And we got one of our favorite guests on the show.
This is mom.
In case you did not know. Mom said her second grader said they had a girlfriend or boyfriend. And her response was, you have to learn cursive first. Listen, if you can't sign documents, then you can't have a boyfriend or girlfriend.
No,
right.
Definitely not. You definitely cannot. That is so funny. I wasn't allowed to date until I was 16, and I couldn't even drive with boys until like 17, I think. And it was when I got my car, I was threatened. Like, if I see you around town in a car with a boy, like that car is gone. So like, did not play. No, not at all.
Right. So right back into it, we have a lot more comments, but we really don't have the time right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to them. We just want to get through a lot of this episode so we can, get the most out of Natanya while she's here. So Britt, you can take us into the next question if you would like.
All right. So our next question is, but it kind of goes together because we were going to ask about dating your castmates. So they kind of goes together with what we're saying. Austin.
Sure.
Was there any other time that you dated any castmates?
I mean, I think that like almost every project I ever did, there was like some sort of little crush. It's an interesting dynamic to put a bunch of teenagers, on a show together, and then kind of isolate them from the rest of the world 5 days a week. Like even filming Alex Mack, we were in Valencia and it was just us. It was we created our own little world, our own little family. And I think inevitably at that age, especially too, that's a very tender age. Crushes form and it happens. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like super notable. I guess there was like a little romance when I did Shadow Zone Undead Express. But other than that, nothing like super notable. There was no big romance when I was on Alex Mack. I will tell you that.
Really?
No romance there. No.
And how long
interesting.
How long did that show run for the people who don't know, who are too young, bro? How long did that show run?
So it ran on air for 5 years, I believe. We filmed for like 6, including the pilot and the recasting of the pilot. It was really more like 7. But we did like 26 or 28 episodes a season. So people hear like, oh, there was only 4 seasons, and it doesn't make sense because they remember watching the show forever and being so many episodes. But that's the reason why, is because we did double episodes per season. So
right, so technically it would have been 8. That's a lot of episodes per season. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a TV show connoisseur. I will run through seasons in a day. That's how, when I get and when I sit down and watch something, I have to watch it all. So for you to say 28 episodes, I think the only thing that I've watched that compares to that is the 24. An hour an episode for 24 seasons. I mean, 24 episodes per season. Insane.
Yeah, like I think Riverdale does that, but also too, we were a 30-minute show, so I think it made more sense to kind of double up, and most of the actors were doing other projects in between on hiatus, so I think it was just to get as much as we could going.
Right.
Yeah, but no epic romances on Alex Mack. I'm so sorry to report.
That's fine.
Yeah, I was like super in love with Chauncey Leopardi when we did Shadow Zone Undead Express. You'll remember he played Squints in The Sandlot. I will put that out there. Other than that in Austin, I don't have like cool like castmate dating stories, which is maybe why I was successful when I was younger, because I didn't
obviously but it's very interesting. It's interesting because I know that a lot of people even were asking me to ask you if you dated he played Ray, right? I don't know his name.
Oh, Darius.
In real life. Yes, because everybody knows you guys are still really good friends, so everybody was like, ask her if they ever dated.
Oh, how funny. You know what? It's interesting too, because Darius and I, we've done a lot of podcasts in the last couple of years together, and a few like talk shows, live talk shows and stuff, and the whole cast gets asked this question all the time, like, did anyone date? No one has ever asked if Darius and I dated, but even in our reunion special that we filmed at Universal, Darius and I are very open and about talking. Like, he was my first brother in life. He was my protector from the jump. He would not let guys mess with me. He would come with me to all the parties, and he was very protective. And he was the only boy that my mom 100% trusted to let into my house, and like he was allowed to like hang out in the bedroom and stuff like that, doors open of course, but yeah, but no, we never dated. We've always been like family, and our relationship really lasted over the last 25 years. I'm incredibly lucky to call him such a good friend. But no dating with me and Darius.
No. I love that though. I love that, and that helps because a lot of people just assume that females can't be friends with males, but I think you two's relationship is absolutely beautiful, because I watch you guys on Instagram, and it's just such a special thing that you guys grew up together on a show together, and then that you still have that relationship is like it's unheard of, so that's really
Thank
cool.
You. I'll let him know you guys said that.
We would love to have both of you on the show. That would be
he'll do it. He might have some better set stories than me.
Listen,
he was a little bit older on set for sure. He was the first one to get a car, and
So yeah, he probably has better set stories. I probably have better off set stories than him,
and we really need to tap into that. I know you mentioned partying, which you probably wish you didn't, but please tell us about the LA party scene as a young child star and how that affected your dating habits back then.
Sure. So I mean, there's two parts to it. There's the fun, exciting part, which I'm happy to share with you guys too, and then there's also the more realistic part where I think a lot of child actors get caught up too much, and it goes down a really dark path. And I know Britt knows a little bit about my story. She's been my ride or die girl since day one. She's definitely showed me a lot of support, and it means a lot. But yeah, so when I was a kid, I mean, the parties, there was this apartment building called Oakwood Apartments. We talk about it a lot. It's pretty iconic in our journey of growing up, coming of age in Hollywood. It's this apartment building where pretty much everyone would stay either during pilot season or just live there, or if they were filming a TV show, so on and so forth. If you didn't live there, you had a best friend who lived there and you stayed with them all the time. And it's where every child actor in the 90s that you could ever imagine, we were all there in one huge group, different sections and stuff in groups, but everyone pretty much there together. And yeah, it was wild. And it was a different time. Back then, it felt a little bit safer in the world, I guess, but there was also a lot less knowledge about the dangers of drinking that young and smoking weed that young and stuff like that, and what it could do as far as the longevity of your mental health, right? So that was one aspect of it. But also in the 90s, being a kid on a really popular television show, a lot of doors opened up to me that wouldn't have opened if I hadn't been doing that, so we were kind of allowed in any club in Hollywood we wanted to go to. And there's a lot of debauchery. I'm not gonna lie. It was but it was a lot of fun, and there was a group of us that really stuck together. And those were when the times were still really good. It got a little bit, I got a little bit off path later on in my life, but during that time, it was epic. It was epic,
Yeah.
Right. Can you give us your wildest story? And this part of our podcast is halfway through, and we call this the turn up portion. So please break us off with your wildest partying / dating, whatever it is. Break us off with that story, something that will send people to the ground instantly.
There's so much. I don't even, I should have, I wish y'all had prepared me for this so I could get a really good story. I'm trying to think. I mean, there were so many, honestly, it might be a little too R-rated. I don't know.
Nothing's too R-rated for Love Lockdown.
I mean, I remember there was a really crazy night. One night I was probably 16 or 17 years old. Dublin's in Hollywood was Jay-Z talks about it in the song. It was just the hottest spot in Los Angeles at that time. And I got right in, no ID. Sorry to the bouncers of Dublin's, not trying to get you in trouble, but that's just how it was, And I got so turned so quick that I think I was throwing up in the bush and falling over pretty quickly, probably, I don't know, even 30 minutes into that was just there's so many wild stories. It's hard to really pinpoint one, but when I tell you, it was it was, I guess, kind of our version of the 70s, it was just wild. Every night was wild. And some I can remember and most I can't, to be honest.
Well, that's great if you can't remember them. That means you had a good time.
Yeah.
You did it
Turn
right.
to the max.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people can remember, which scares me, but I can't. So
yeah.
It's listen, we've all been there and at one point or another turned up past where our knobs can turn. And
that's right.
That's just what it is. It makes you no different as a celebrity. Matter of fact, you have more of an excuse, because if you had gave a person like me that type of rank and pull where I can just walk into anywhere at any time, good luck.
Good luck.
It's
I
crazy.
can imagine.
It's crazy. I guess I had a little bit of an advantage just in the sense that I had been acting since I was 2 years old. So for me, it was normal, you know, it was just my life. So I didn't kind of feel the need to like, it wasn't like a kid in the candy shop. It was just something that, and in hindsight, I don't know if that's better or worse, you know, but I don't know. Crazy times. I do want to say though, just for anybody who's listening, I am sober now. I do want to represent that. It's something that's incredibly significant to me in my life. I really feel like it's the best part of who I am as a human being. So I do want to say that as many fun, incredible, reckless nights that I can remember, that I can't remember, it did take a turn at a certain point for me. And I do want to just put that energy out into the universe and let you know that I did get sober, and I am currently sober still for a long time. Yes. So I do say that for anybody else out there that's struggling, you know, that there is hope, and I do want to just put that out there. So yeah.
Respect.
Much respect. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that was actually one of our questions. It was just called addiction, but it wasn't going to be necessarily towards you, just in Hollywood in general. But sure. I just think that's beautiful that you are so open to sharing that story. And again, I followed you for so long that I know that you go around and talk to people about it. So just people who are struggling, especially in that industry, like, it's nice to know that they have someone real to open up to and talk to for that support. So congratulations on being sober. Congratulations. I know that's huge.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So before we head on to the next portion, because we're going to get into the actual dating and some of the information you can give out
I'm scared
for dating in Hollywood.
I'm nervous.
We're going to pause for calls because we have an after party today, guys. We had to represent for Natanya. So after this is over, we will have a 90s after party on Facebook Live, powered by DJ Motherfucker. So if you are interested in turning up on live, please tune in right after the show. We'll share the link. You can go like DJ Motherfucker's page. He'll be streaming directly from his. So we had to represent for Natanya today because of the huge guest she is. So that's my plug. That's what I had to say. Now let's get into the real topics.
Is my grandpa invited to the after party?
Yes, he can for sure attend.
Grandpa, if you're still listening, you're invited. You and I, we're invited to a Hollywood after party. So let's see. We'll see how we feel.
Grandpa, absolutely invited.
Nap after this, I don't know.
So right into the next question. We haven't written this down, but through your talking, I kind of wanted to know this. Like, what was your longest standing relationship while in Hollywood? Well, up until now, actually.
It's my current relationship, which is the one that I'm always the most excited to. Ooh, I just got a little emotional. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's my current relationship. The one that I'm most proud of and that I'm most excited to talk about at any given time when anybody asks me. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I love him a lot. He's my best friend. He's in the living room, probably playing video games. God knows. You know, and yeah, we've been together. So in this January, it'll be 4 years, which, you know, I know is kind of not the longest amount of time ever, but it's my longest relationship. So that's my story. And it's the most meaningful one I've ever had in my life by far. And yeah, you know, I've always kind of been like a serial monogamist. I don't know what they call it. You know, I kind of like I've been in relationship after relationship after relationship in my life, starting from Austin. Thank you, Austin. It never really like changed after him. And you know, when I met Sam, you know, when we started dating, I instantly knew there was something different. I knew it. I could feel it. It's like it's a very karmic connection him and I have. He's the one. That's it. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. He's the one. Yeah.
Shout out to
always know
Sam.
when they're the one. When you get emotional, that's how you know they're the one. Because I didn't get emotional about anybody
that's right.
until
That's right.
I hear that. Okay.
Listen, that's crazy. So what do you think the biggest difference in you were before you got into this relationship? What do you think you changed while you were single right before this relationship?
Well, I mean, one huge factor is being sober. I obviously live my life very differently as a sober woman than when I'm, out there getting buck wild. So, that's a huge thing. And, I really didn't not only learn who I was as a human being or as a woman until I hit my 30s, but also didn't appreciate that part of who I was either, So I think my hero, RuPaul, says it, until you love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? And it's really, it's cliche to quote RuPaul, but it's true. Until I really learned to love myself, I was not able to meet somebody halfway or even a quarter way in a relationship, especially a relationship of an adult nature, in the sense that like this has potential to, go forever, I wasn't there, but thank God I got there before meeting him. And, and I'll tell you, the first couple of years weren't the easiest, and we had a break, we broke up for a couple of months. And I am so grateful for that break because there was something happening with me at that time spiritually. I needed to hit some sort of a spiritual bottom and really this is a story for a whole other podcast, a whole other time. But a couple years ago, I actually found out that I'm adopted. Right. And met family that I never knew I had. That's my grandpa who's on this call. He's listening in right now. These precious people have just come into my life. And so I found all that out, and I'm trying to manage a relationship. And my boyfriend is a musician, and he's always touring and always doing show. There's so much going on. And I think there's something in me just broke, and I stopped being myself, and so I had to just Natanya got her groove back, I guess, type of thing, right? And once I kind of put myself back together, him and I were able to get back together. And I've told girlfriends my whole life, I've seen my girlfriends just, so heartbroken over relationships. And I've told them, like we've all told our friends, listen, if you love somebody, let it go. If it's meant for you, it'll come back. And I've said that like thousands of times in my life and never really knew if that was true, and then all of a sudden it was my turn to have faith in that statement. And I did. And he came back, And
listen, that's awesome. That's one of the things that we preach on this show all the time. Not only just knowing who you are, but actually loving who you are. Because
that's right.
If you do not know who you are, it's impossible to love who you are. And I'm pretty sure the sober journey actually helped you along the way, getting to know yourself before getting to love yourself.
That's right. Yeah.
It's hard for somebody to love you when you don't love yourself.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
We all need a little touch up here and there.
All of us.
Yeah, but everything's been beautiful, and we've been together a long time. So yeah, that's my
awesome.
longest relationship.
And how many years is that going on now?
Almost 4.
4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we're getting there.
That's a long time. You said that wasn't that long. That's a long time.
We know people who have been married and divorced twice in 4 years. So you need to pat yourself on the back a little bit harder.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're getting up there in the years for sure. Yeah.
And again, it's just a normal. What you just gave was just such a normal answer as well, because I do know that even me, when I look at relationships, I still feel like I was just learning myself at like 28, 29, 30. So like you're still learning yourself every day, So
that's right.
When people are getting married at like 18 and whatnot, I'm not saying it can't work out, but like you truly are learning yourself, and people need to learn that it's not that you're growing apart or that they're changing. It's just that everybody is changing at the same time. So they might not seem like the same person, but they kind of are. They're just changing with you. So
listen, You preaching, Brit. Real quick for my people out there who watching live, they're really into it. We have a few comments to get into. Allison said hi from Atlanta, Natanya Ross.
That's my Aunt Allison. Hello.
Hi, Allison.
I got the whole family representing.
I
know
love
that's
that.
right.
I love her.
Family support, as you can tell.
Yes.
Erica is supporting you. She says she is sober as fuck since 2009.
Yes.
There you go.
And I'm very proud of her. That's my best friend. She's my best friend. We've been friends since 2 years old, so her journey has been beautiful too to watch. I'm very proud of her.
Mom says she's so proud of you.
She's probably proud of Brit, but if she's proud of me too, I'll take it. Thanks, Mom.
I'm pretty sure she's talking about you.
Brit's compliments don't come that easy from Mom.
No, not that easy. She's very difficult.
I love it.
Erica said thank you. And then we have one more question from James. He actually has two, so I'll throw them both in there real quick. James said, what was it like doing the episode of 90210?
Okay, yeah, that so with every project I've ever done, I guess I kind of just took it as a grain of salt. You never know how big or little it's going to be. When we started Alex Mack, you know, it was like this tiny little thing. We didn't even know if we'd get picked up. Ended up being #1 kids show in the world, right? So you never really know. When I got 90210, for me, because when I was 9 years old, I was sleeping with a Luke Perry pillow. I was obsessed with this show. It was my favorite show in the whole wide world. It was the most exciting thing I'd ever heard in my whole life. So yeah, I was like a fangirl the whole time. I could barely speak to anyone, you know, Luke Perry, Jason. I mean, it was crazy to me. I was just like, whoa, I've made it. Oh my God.
Wow. That has to be awesome to look up to a show and all of a sudden you're on there. Insane.
It was amazing. Yeah.
So one more question from James. He says, has Hollywood changed for the better or worse since the 90s? Blah.
You know, this is a longer subject than we probably have time for. I don't know. I'd like to think in a lot of ways that it has. And I also think that it's stayed in some of its bad habits too. You know, and that's the most diplomatic way I can answer that.
Listen, we'll save that for another podcast another day. That is a full topic.
Yeah.
Feldman, hi from Orlando, Grandpop and Everett.
Hi, Grandpop and Ed.
Hello.
Love you guys.
So I'll let Britt bring in the next question so we can keep it moving. This has been a wonderful episode. For you guys who are tuning in late, or for you guys who are listening who skipped a bunch, I don't know why you would do that. But if you have, we are talking with the beautiful, talented Natanya Ross, our childhood actress. So get into the next question for us, Britt.
So it kind of like what we were just discussing, it goes perfectly with Hollywood because I know personally I've always wanted to see, like growing up in that atmosphere, do you ever feel like any adults took advantage of you or tried to take advantage of you in that industry? Producers.
Crazy subject. I've been
you're good now. Did you get a question?
Do you guys have me? I froze for a minute. Now I'm good. Okay. You know what? I got so incredibly lucky. I was just talking to one of my best girlfriends. Her name's Tazy. Shout out Tazy. About this last night, actually. How incredibly lucky and fortunate I was. I did a little Zoom reunion recently too with the cast of Alex Mack, and our creator Tommy Lynch was on there too. And he was saying too, you know, for that time frame, that decade where there was a lot of shit going on that shouldn't have been going on, he's never had an issue on any of his shows. And me personally, I got so incredibly lucky. I never had like a casting couch experience. I never had anybody be inappropriate with me at all. I'm also like kind of a tough bird, you know. It's like, you know, I've heard, I think I'm really nice, but I've heard my whole life like that people feel a little bit intimidated because they don't know if like I'm a bitch or what the deal is, and I'm not. I'm really nice, but I guess there's something hard about the way I look. I don't know. So maybe people were scared.
Well, that's a good thing. You know,
that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, people know who to mess with.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, people know who to mess with. No, I was asking though because you know we have Nickelodeon, and I know a lot of people ask about Dan Schneider, and he just so happened to be the writer of iCarly, The Amanda Show, Kenan and Kel, all that. Like he did a lot. So I just wanted to see if you actually had any interactions with him because I know a lot of people say that he did a lot of stuff. And Nickelodeon, for those of you who don't know, actually quietly let him go. What was that, last year, 2 years ago now?
Maybe 2 years ago, I think.
2 years ago. So
you know what?
I've heard some weird things with that man. So yeah.
Yeah, we were a little bit different than all that. The Amanda Show, Kenan and Kel, in the sense that we weren't a live show. We were, a drama show, for lack of a better word. We built our own soundstage in Valencia, and we were really under the umbrella of Lynch Entertainment. So we didn't interact too much with Nickelodeon executives unless it was specific to a big help, a Kids' Choice Award, big help-a-thon, like something like that. No, we were kept really safe. We were kept really protected on every project I've ever been on. When I was like 22, or I forget how old I was, I did a show called Boston Public, and I was actually the youngest person ever on a David E. Kelly show to be nude or semi-nude. And the scene was that I talked back to a teacher, and we were in Catholic school, so I got paddled. And I remember that day on set too, because I had to, take my pants down.
Yeah.
And it was a closed set, and I was incredibly fortunate in that aspect of my career. I was treated with a lot of respect and love, and from day one, I got really lucky. So no bad stories for me. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends who had those experiences. A lot of my guy friends did, but me, I was good. Thank God.
Yeah. I've never been so happy to hear not a bad story like that.
Thank you.
That makes me happy because I've heard some very dark things with
Yeah, it happens. It's real for sure, but I got lucky. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And that's actually, like you said, you're lucky. That's an understatement with everything that we hear. We don't live in Hollywood, so everything that we hear is more dark than not. We don't really, they don't really write articles about the good stuff in Hollywood.
That's right.
So,
they don't.
No. And I appreciate YouTube and social media because I feel like I get to be in control of everything that I do, in my brand. So I don't necessarily have anybody telling me what to do.
Yeah. It's a new generation, which is cool. It's awesome.
I always say that I'm so thankful that I don't have to be bothered with like the harassment or anything like that, because I can just choose what I want to do. So that's the cool thing about it, and Instagram and all of that.
Yeah.
We have a comment that goes with this, guys, and we want to get Sean in here. And he says this is one of the biggest concerns with pushing his daughter towards the entertainment industry. He would be on death row.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How many?
I think they've come a long way in child labor laws and protection of kids on set. I mean, I saw something the other night that I know there was a law put in place where they're really, really, really screening adults that are working around children as far as, making sure there's no sex conviction, so on and so forth. But I mean, I get it. Listen, I'm not a parent, so I don't even know, if I was a parent, if I'd put my own child in the entertainment industry, to be honest. So, Sean, stay off of death row. Do whatever you gotta do.
Listen, and I have to ask you because I need to know, did you have a momager or a crazy parent that followed you around the entire time? And I know you've probably seen those and how crazy you have to be a momager in Hollywood. Please give us one of those stories. We need to know.
Yeah, I mean, my mom was definitely in charge of my career for sure. She was my guardian on set until I was 16. She managed my career alongside a manager and an agent. But there was another side of her too that like really stayed in the background. So I mean, sure. I had a momager.
Yeah, did you? Who was the craziest momager that you've seen? You know, and you know, maybe it's a Lindsay Lohan or somebody of that stature. But who is the craziest momager that pops into your mind when you hear that word?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest. We didn't really have anyone that bad in our crew. Yeah, I couldn't even. I don't even have an answer for that.
Yeah, you lucked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And going back to Sean, what Sean said, he said he would be on death row. We would be too, because she's our cousin. So
Yeah,
we would all have to.
there you go. Yeah.
Miss London, we would all have to
the new
handle some
season of
business.
For Life starring
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really have enjoyed you today, Natanya. We have James asking us, how does he follow your career next? What do you have going on
Yes.
currently?
Yes,
Please let us
please.
know. Promote shamelessly.
This is your
Okay.
time.
Well, so I, as a lot of my dear fans know, that have followed me throughout all the years, which PS, shout out to you guys, because you've kept me alive, you've kept me relevant. It means the world. I'm not really acting right now. It just I took a break when I was younger and never really fell back into it. But I think the next thing I really want to do, and I guess if I put it in the universe, like, you guys have to hold me accountable to actually doing it, is I want to write a book about my life and my story about being a child star, and then drug addiction, and then getting sober and finding out I'm adopted and connecting with my family and all of that incredible stuff that's made me who I am as a human being. So hopefully we'll have some progress with that in the next year. And as far as my career goes, the little things that I've done in the last few years have really just been for the fans, for you guys. There's a link in my bio on Instagram. That is our, it's like 22 really, but we call it our 20-year Alex Mack reunion that we did at Universal Studios. Me and the cast just did a little Zoom reunion recently where we highly encourage people to donate to charities that we've selected, one being Music Cares. And all of that information is in my bio on Instagram, which is at Natanya Ross. And you never know what happens. I mean, I could get a call tomorrow to do something and you guys could see me on the big screen again, or maybe not. I mean, it's all God's plan. So we'll have to see.
And I'll be right by your side the whole time.
I know you
Just call
will.
me up, like, girl, I have something special going on. I'll make sure I promote the shit out of it.
And because you dropped that into the universe, I need a commitment now that when you write that book, that you come back to Love Lockdown so that we can go over it.
You'll be my first stop. You'll be the first stop. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. You have my word. Yeah.
I love it. So yeah, I checked out the Secret World of Alex Mack reunion special, you guys, and make sure you check it out, because it is really special, once again, just to see, first off, how fabulous you guys all still look. Number one. And just the fact that you're all still healthy and alive, because that's something special on its own. It's very rare that you can get a show that lasted that long and there's not a cast member that's gone,
Right.
It's really special. So again, that's in your link on Instagram.
Yes, it's it's there. It's all there. Yeah, it's on the feed. It's all there. It's all there.
Okay, so make sure you guys check that out.
If you guys are live, you see her name scrolling across the bottom of the screen for Instagram. It's at Natanya Ross on Instagram. So make sure you guys go follow her and check her out. And one more time, we need to thank her for coming on. And listen, I think we have a few episodes in here somewhere where we can dig up and actually dig into these topics a little deeper. But we thank you. Thank you so much.
I have one more question. I have one more question for you. Super simple. What was your favorite show to be on?
Alex Mack.
Alex Mack, okay. Because I know you were on Billy with John, I don't know his last name, from Big Bang Theory and from Roseanne. Yeah. Amazing. So I was just wondering how that was, being his sibling.
I loved him. He was like a brother to me at that time. We just moved out to California. So, and he later on went to open up a coffee shop on Sunset Boulevard, and I would go there a lot when I was like 18. So, yeah, I mean, every project I've ever done has been incredibly special to me and still has a very big piece of my heart, but nothing will ever compare to Alex Mack. That's the flagship of my career
for sure, and the thing that will probably follow me until the day I die.
You should probably look into doing classes for people for interviews and you know, because your skills are unmatched. You're well spoken.
Thank you.
You know what to say, when to say it. It doesn't take you long, and it's probably because you're seasoned. But you should probably look into that because a lot of people need it.
Maybe that's a little side hustle. I don't know. I will look into it.
Yeah, start getting people ready for training their kids, because there's a lot of people we know ready for their kids to be in Hollywood. So, but yeah.
Right. So listen, I'm gonna give a shout out to our sponsors. Thank you today to Mrs. Kisses. If you did not tune in at the beginning, the Mrs. Kisses ad ran in the beginning, along with Duval, the Duval facial spin brush. What is it called? The Radiant spin brush.
The Radiant spin brush. I just did a full video on it too.
Britt just did a full video on it. They actually sent her a code for us podcasters and us brats out there for 70% off if you use the discount code BRITBRAT. So shout out to our sponsors. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Natanya.
Yes, they help us pay our bills
Britt,
for sure.
And kiss us right off of this show.
All right. Well, just lastly, again, you guys, we appreciate all of you, your love and support. And we would love it, again, if you could give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts if you get a chance to do so, because it helps us out so much. You guys obviously see we get our sponsors and whatnot. So it's just helping us being able to entertain you even better. So go show us some love and support. We thank you all that did it last week. And just everybody who's been showing love. Natanya, once again, thank you for being here. You are queen of the 90s once again.
Love you guys. Thank you.
We love you too. Had such a good time.
And guys, don't forget the after party is beginning. We are sharing it. We're going live. It's all 90s music all the time. Thank you, Natanya. And we're out of here.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.